Hi, welcome to Perfectly Wasted. This is episode 5 about sequels. You can find all my previous episodes on my YouTube channel, Drinking Wisemen, along with photos of me and my cosplay progression, day to day life on my Instagram at DullOxide. So, as I said, we're talking about some sequels today. One of which I actually saw earlier today was a sequel to a movie that I just actually recently seen, but I really did enjoy. And as per requested, there's our more cat inside of the videos. So maybe Loki will co-host with me here in a minute if he wants to jump up. But John Wick is the movie that we're talking about right now. So John Wick 2 just released recently. Like I said, I had just recently seen the first movie. If you haven't seen it, it is phenomenal. The gunplay inside of the movie and the fight scenes and things to that effect are just ridiculously cool. So they are really cool. And Keanu Reeves has like great moves. He does the majority of his stunts, from what I understand, inside of these movies. You've probably seen videos of him on YouTube and other places for him training in gunplay for these types of movies, and it just the fluidity of the fight scenes and things to that effect, the soundtrack, the one-liners, everything is great. If you haven't seen the original, I'd highly recommend it. If you haven't seen the sequel, then I would say if you really like the original, check out the sequel, just as good. It gives you more of a look into this whole kind of, underground killing assassin type scene that they have, and it shows you a little bit more on like how much they respect the rules inside of this underground world that they have. Now, I know a lot of people didn't want to see the original because they have the whole, did the dog die and things like that, and basically that's the entire plot of the first movie is, his dog dies, and the most simple of ways to explain the movie, his dog dies, he kills everyone, and while it seems kind of ridiculous, which is the reason I didn't see the original movie until just recently, it totally just makes the movie. Like, yeah, his dog dies and he kills like 80 people in the movie just because of this. And so the new movie, it kind of comes off of that a little bit too, but it's not quite the same. It's a little bit different story. Like I said, it's more into the underground world, so it explains a little bit more. I feel like they kind of have the ability to do a third movie, whether it be like how he became John Wick or what might be coming. They kind of closed it, kind of didn't. I'd say definitely check it out. Very enjoyable. If you liked the first one, you liked it. If you haven't seen the first one, go watch it. Uh, Now, secondly, we have another Star Trek movie, Star Trek Beyond, which also I feel like was a really great sequel, and it had another great soundtrack in it, and the storyline itself was really good standalone. I mean, I feel like you could watch pretty much any of the newer Star Treks from this reboot by themselves, and they're pretty phenomenal. So, in this one, you have kind of like the old Federation versus the new Federation, how they feel betrayed, and I'm not gonna lie. At some point during the movie, I kind of expected the big bad to come back and be like, "Oh, what am I doing? I'm human," kind of thing. And so I was expecting that, but it was still good. The bad guy, it's not no con, but it totally had a really good plot. You didn't really see the twist coming, and it made sense once the twist did come how everything was able to happen. It was kind of like how inside of the original Star Trek reboot, where they have the guys that are from the future that come back inside of the mining ship, and they're able to try and destroy planets like they did to Vulcan, and it just once you find out the rest of the storyline, it totally makes sense. It's like, oh yeah, they're from the future. Wait, they're on a mining ship? How can they destroy an entire planet? Oh, because they're from the future, and because their technology is specifically made to be able to bore through planets. So there you go. And that ends up going really well. So again, another movie that I feel like as a sequel was really great. If you haven't seen it, check it out, especially if you like the Star Trek movies. It definitely stands up to the others. Um, Another more recent sequel that came out that actually, in this case, was not as good as the original, and I would not recommend seeing, was Now You See Me 2. So Now You See Me 1, I actually really liked personally. I know a lot of people really didn't like it. It got kind of a bad rep, but I enjoyed it. I liked the whole, hey, we're magicians and we're going to get recruited basically into this underground magician group that tries to like play Robin Hood or correct evils kind of thing. They have their own like vendettas and they go and do whatever they're going to do. And I enjoyed that. Now You See Me Too kind of piggybacked. Like, it was almost like a literal piggyback off the other movie, unlike how John Wick did it, where they basically, as soon as John Wick 1 ends, John Wick 2 is supposed to have begun. This is somewhat similar, but it's like, hey, we did this really, really big thing, kind of like in the Oceans movie. You had Oceans 11, and then from Oceans 11 to Oceans 12, it was supposed to have had something happen, and in this one it was, oh, the big bad inside of the first movie, well, he had an illegitimate son, who also happens to be Daniel Radcliffe, and the part inside of it of the illegitimate son, not a great part. And now he's going to take his own team of like magicians and they're going to take you down. And like, what why do that? So anyways, the underlying plot was not super great. Some of the ways that they created, the magic tricks that they did was really cool, and they kind of like play off of that in different portions of the movie. But at the same time, I feel like the movie really fell short compared to the original. And like I said, I just wouldn't recommend it. If you like the original, leave it at that. One and done. Enjoy it. Just try to forget there was a second movie ever made and go on with your life. Now, with that being said, I do want to talk about one other movie, which is not quite a sequel, but it is part of a series. So you have the new DC Universe movies that have been launching recently, and there was Suicide Squad, which like a lot of people were super excited for. Hey, Suicide Squad, we got some really cool bad guys. The new Suicide Squad comics have been coming out recently. Everyone loves Harley Quinn, and then the movie came out and it was like, well, wait, why is Harley Quinn like this super sexy girl who is completely demented? They completely changed her costume. You got the Daddy's Little Monster thing going on, and it just kind of, what? Like, why would you do that? And honestly, this movie could have just been named Introduction to Harley Quinn, because that's what it was, just as much as Batman vs. Superman should have been Introduction to Wonder Woman. The best part of the movies were these women characters, which I'm totally cool with, but the overlying plot, like the entire plot of the movie, was just crap because of this. Like, if they had just gone in the direction of, hey, we're going to introduce these characters so that we can make more movies based on them because people really like them, all right, I get it. Makes sense. You're trying to make money. It's marketing. But when you go and you take a bunch of other characters that have their own really interesting stories and you bunch them together with this character that you're trying to boost, it just doesn't really make sense. Like, why does Batman versus Superman need Wonder Woman? I mean, it didn't. It could have gone along just fine without Wonder Woman. Anything that Wonder Woman did, you could have had Lois Lane do. It would have made perfect sense, because you have these two guys and they're basically fighting about something, and then, hey, this woman's going to come in and make one or both of them see reason because they're being kind of ridiculous. Then, again, inside of Suicide Squad, you have this team that is basically forced to go and do something they don't want to do, and, who kind of runs everything together. It's not the trained military that's inside of it. Harley Quinn, with like her weird ass nuances, kind of brings everyone together, and it's just kind of odd. But I did watch all of these movies. I enjoyed them while I was watching them, to the extent that you get absorbed inside of a movie. But as follow-ups or sequels or second parts of series, like I said, Now You See Me Too, Suicide Squad, you could pretty much skip them. They're just not really all there. It's not really worth seeing. So with that, I think that we're getting kind of better at sequels these days. There have been other sequels that were very good, inside of the Star Wars storyline. The first two Star Wars movies, Star Wars and the A New Hope and Return of the Jedi, and the all of them basically I really, really enjoy. The newest ones kind of felt like repeats, but I really did enjoy them. And then you have like Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2, both great movies. They could hold their own. I really like it when I can watch one movie and then watch the sequel, and it can definitely stand by itself. In this case, I don't think I'd recommend something like Suicide Squad, and I'm not sure that if you watch Now You See Me 2, you'd understand what was happening really, because, I mean, they do explain it, but it's not great. So, sequels, getting better, still having misses. That being said, if there are any sequels that you think that I might like, that I might check out based off of the list of the movies that I've seen inside of this one, go ahead, throw them my way. Please like, comment, subscribe, and if you have any suggestions for future episodes, please by all means contact me. Thank you again for joining us. That was 10 minutes perfectly wasted.